It was a crisp autumn morning when Alex Thompson first noticed the letter slipped under his front door. The envelope was crisp white, stamped with the official seal of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association, a logo of intertwined willow branches that now seemed more like strangling vines. Alex, a 38-year-old software engineer who'd recently moved into his dream home on the outskirts of the upscale Willow Creek subdivision, picked it up with mild curiosity. He'd bought the 5-acre parcel specifically because it wasn't part of the main gated community. It bordered the neighborhood, with a private driveway leading to a sturdy iron gate he'd installed himself for privacy and security. The house was a modern rustic build, all wood beams and large windows overlooking rolling hills, a place to escape the city chaos with his wife Sarah and their 2 young kids. The letter was from Karen Whitmore, the HOA president, a woman Alex had only seen from afar, driving her pristine white SUV through the neighborhood gates. It was polite at first, welcoming him to the area and noting that his property adjoined the Willow Creek community. Then came the bombshell, as per the recorded covenants affecting adjacent properties and historical access agreements. Your land is subject to mandatory inclusion in the Willow Creek HOA. You will be required to join effective immediately, pay back assessments from the date of your purchase, and comply with all community guidelines. Alex laughed out loud at that. Mandatory inclusion. He'd checked the title report meticulously before buying. His property was a separate lot, carved out years ago from an old farm, with no mention of any HOA covenants running with the land. He'd chosen it precisely to avoid the micromanaging he'd heard horror stories about. Rules on paint colors, lawn height, even holiday decorations, but the letter didn't stop there. Additionally, the association requires unrestricted access to the portion of your property adjacent to our community fence line for maintenance of shared drainage easements and emergency access. Please remove the lock from your gate within 14 days and provide master keys to the board. Failure to comply will result in fines and legal action to enforce our rights. Alex's laughter faded. Unrestricted access. His gate opened onto a private road that skirted the edge of the OA's manicured lawns, but it was entirely on his land. There was a small drainage ditch along the boundary, but nothing that suggested an easement for the HOA to traipse through whenever they pleased. He showed the letter to Sarah that evening over dinner. "This is ridiculous," she said, her eyes widening. "They can't just force you to join their club and demand keys to our gate." Alex nodded, but a knot formed in his stomach. He'd heard stories, neighbors in similar situations bullied into compliance by aggressive HOAs. The next day, he called a real estate attorney recommended by a friend. The attorney, Mark Ellison, reviewed the title documents and plat maps Alex emailed over. "Good news," Mark said over the phone. "Your deed is clean. No recorded covenants binding you to the OA. That mandatory inclusion claim is baseless. Properties like yours are sometimes called outlots. They border subdivisions but aren't encumbered unless explicitly stated. As for the easement, there's a utility easement for the county drainage, but nothing granting the HOA pedestrian or vehicular access across your gate." Relieved, Alex drafted a polite response. He declined membership, as his property wasn't subject to the HOA, and noted that the gate lock would remain for security reasons. He cited the lack of any recorded easement allowing HOA access. He mailed it certified, thinking that would be the end of it. It wasn't. 2 weeks later, another letter arrived, this one on fancy letterhead from the HOA's law firm. It was longer, more aggressive. "Your refusal to comply constitutes a willful violation of long-standing equitable servitudes and implied easements benefiting the Willow Creek community. Historical use of the access road through your gate by residents for shortcuts to the community park and during construction has established prescriptive rights. You are hereby demanded to join the association, pay $15 in back assessments and initiation fees, remove the gate lock immediately, and allow installation of an HOA-controlled electronic opener. Litigation will follow, including claims for trespass injunctions and attorney fees." Alex's heart sank. Prescriptive rights. He'd closed the gate the day he moved in, precisely to prevent casual use. The previous owner, an elderly widow, had apparently been lax, letting neighbors cut through occasionally. But was that enough for legal rights? Sarah was furious. "They're bluffing, trying to scare us into giving in." But the pressure mounted. Fines started appearing, mailed notices for obstructing community access, the 500 each accruing daily. Then came the visits. Karen Whitmore showed up one Saturday morning with 2 board members, standing at the gate, demanding entry. Alex met them there, phone recording discreetly. "I'm sorry, but this is private property. There's no easement allowing you access." Karen, a sharp-featured woman in her 50s with perfectly coiffed hair, smiled tightly. "Mr. Thompson, you're making a big mistake. This isn't just about you. The community has rights. We've used that path for years. You'll join us, 100%. It's inevitable. Remove the lock or we'll have no choice but to enforce our claims." Her certainty unnerved him. That night, he pored over online forums, reading similar stories, HOAs claiming phantom easements, forcing outsiders in through sheer persistence and legal threats. Some homeowners caved, paying thousands to make it stop. Others fought and won, but at great cost. Alex decided to fight. He hired Mark full-time, who sent a cease and desist letter, demanding the HOA stop harassment and retract false claims. In response, the HOA filed a lawsuit in county court, seeking declaratory judgment that Alex's property was bound by the covenants, an injunction to remove the lock and quiet title to a 20-foot easement across his driveway for community access. The battle lines were drawn. The lawsuit dragged on for months, turning Alex's peaceful retreat into a war zone. Discovery phase revealed the HOA's case was built on shaky ground, old affidavits from long-time residents claiming they'd always used the path through what was now Alex's gate for dog walks or kids' shortcuts to the community pool. One even swore it was part of the original development plan, but Mark countered brilliantly. He dug up historical plats showing Alex's parcel as a separate remainder lot, sold off independently in the 1980s with no reservation of easements for the future subdivision. The drainage was a public utility easement, not private for the HOA, and prescriptive easement required open, notorious hostile use for 15 years in their state. But the previous owner's permissive allowance didn't count as hostile. Still, the stress was immense. Sarah worried about the kids seeing strangers at the gate. Alex installed security cameras, catching board members peeking over the fence, taking photos. Fines piled up to $20 and, though Mark assured they were unenforceable, the HOA escalated. They posted signs at the community entrance warning of disputed access and potential trespassers. Anonymous complaints flooded the county, noise from Alex's home non-existent, unpermitted structures, his kids' playset, even a false report of illegal burning during a family bonfire. Karen became obsessed. She emailed Alex directly, despite the ongoing litigation, saying, "We're a family here. Join us, give us the access we need, and this all goes away. You'll see the benefits. Better property values, community events. Resist and we'll bury you in court." Alex forwarded everything to Mark, who filed for sanctions against the HOA for improper contact. As trial approached, the HOA's lawyer proposed settlement. Alex pays $10,000 voluntary assessment, installs an HOA-compatible gate opener they'd control codes, and grants a limited pedestrian easement. In exchange, dropped the suit. Alex refused. "This is our home. They don't get to dictate." The trial was a spectacle in the small county courthouse. Neighbors testified on both sides. Karen took the stand, tearfully claiming the access was vital for community cohesion. An emergency evacuation, though the main gates were the official exits. Mark dismantled it. Expert surveyors confirmed no recorded easement. The judge, a no-nonsense veteran, seemed skeptical of the HOA's overreach. After 2 days, the verdict in favor of Alex. No mandatory membership, his property free and clear. No prescriptive easement, use had been permissive, not adverse. The gate lock stays, all purported fines voided. And the HOA ordered to pay Alex's attorney fees $45,000. Karen's face was stone as the judgment was read. Outside court, she approached Alex. "This isn't over. We'll appeal." But they didn't. The cost was too high and bad publicity spread online. Local news picked up the bullying or loses big story. Life returned to normal. Alex reinforced the gate, added a keypad for family only. The kids played freely in the yard without fear of intrusion. Sarah planted a garden along the boundary, wildflowers blooming defiantly. One spring day, a new letter arrived. Not from the HOA, but from a neighbor inside Willow Creek. "Thank you for standing up. We're tired of Karen's reign too. Thinking of voting her out." Alex smiled, tossing it on the counter. Freedom tasted sweet. The gate stayed locked, the land his own. And in the quiet hills, the Thompsons thrived, far from the grasping vines of forced community.